Okay, so as I was saying, um, what you want to be careful of is if I do the align tool like this, you're gonna notice that it's gonna move the whole duct kind of like in a different position. So sometimes the easiest thing to do, and this could probably work for plumbing as well, is if you get a vertical and you want to align it to something, just click on the vertical line, and then when you're in 3D, go to like a top view. And then now you can move, you can hit the center of it, and you can move it to the center of this, and it just moves the vertical, and it keeps everything in its place, but it keeps it so it matches, and everything's still connected. And then now I can extend this past, and I can take this vertical and extend it to here, and it'll add this transition, and then I can continue this, to how I had it, to the end, so it matches up with these as well. So that's how you can start to play around with the ductwork. There's different things that you can do to get it to work. Another good thing with ductwork that you can see here is when you get to the usually for a diffuser, you're gonna have, depending on how much air is actually being thrown out. But if you have like a really small diffuser, that's like a 12 by 12 that has minimum, that has like not a lot of CFM coming out of it, and you're not going to need a very big duct. But you see this type of duct here. This is called flex duct, and it's only available in round. You can't get it for a square duct, but you can get it for round. And it says what it is. It's flexible, so you can bend it to any shape that you want. So if you have a tight spot that you try to get something to connect, you can use flex duct to get it to connect. So you can see here, what I did here was, if I delete that out, you add it the same way, so you can right click on here, and then instead of draw duct, you hit draw flex duct, and it gives you a flex duct. So I picked it from there, and then I can pick, it had it highlighted, it just disappeared. Restart it. So if I pick duct and I hit draw flex duct, there it goes. So you can see how I get the center point of that transition. So I can click that, and it'll put the flex duct in for that spot. It's only for the circular pipe. They don't have it they probably have some of it for square, but it's not used as much, and it's probably very minimal. I don't even know. Let me see if you can do a flex duct. This is a cap. It's a end cap. So like if you have something like that and you want to end cap it, you click on the duct and you hit end cap, and it puts a cap on the end. So it knows to close. So now you can draw a flex duct, but again, it's see, there is rectangular, but it's not used too much. It's more the circular. The circular flex duct is more industry standard to use to get around certain things. So you can see, you can, if you have a little bit of a height that you need to get up. So like, for this one, I'm going from 21.7 to 22.8, and this obviously wouldn't be enough to connect it that way. So you can just flex duct it up there to get it to work. Yeah, you can also, angle ducts as well. I could, rotate this a little bit, a few degrees, and just have it run, slope up a little bit till it connects to this one, and it goes through. But it can be tricky to do that in Revit, because you can see, in real life, that's probably what they would do. They would just rotate this fin a little bit, and then have the duct slope up until this row fit in, so they would match up. But in Revit, it's kind of difficult to do that with the duct, so it's easier just to use flex duct for showing it here to get it to go. And this is a lot of times too when you're showing stuff like this in your model, but in real life, the person that's installing the ductwork is going to do it how they want to do it anyway. This is just a good way to show them how to actually, the path that you want them to take, to get to somewhere where, wherever they need to go, and how to get around structure and the other systems. But if they know a better way to get this to work, they're going to do it that way anyway. So that's a little thing that you can use there. So you can see, here, you have the same reducer that comes down. So for something like this, so this is like a unit itself. And then I had a duct, so this is a transition to a smaller, like a lot of units that you get. This it comes in as I get this, I believe from. This is from LG, the company LG. So they have this set up, and this is what their design of this typical unit. So this supply duct coming out of it is a 47 by 11-inch duct. And when you draw it out, obviously you may not. I didn't need something that big. I only needed a 38 by 12. So what I did was, when you click on this and you go to draw this. So if I click on this duct, I only needed like a 37 by, 12. For this purpose, it doesn't matter. So when I draw it out, it puts the transition in automatically to get to that duct, and then you can, you can go from there. And so I went from there and I connected it to that one, and then I transitioned. So you see this. This duct is 37-inch by 12-inch. Well, actually, before I do that, let me just. So that's how you put the transition. But to show you how ductwork works, let me just go back, since I have the actual size. Okay, so it was 38 by 12. I was 1 inch off on the width. But you can see here, so coming off of this unit, I have a 38-inch by 12. Then I had the transition, and I split it 2 ways. And then you can see here, so this is 38 by 12, but for this one I went down to 22 and 22, so I was able to split it because, basically half the ear is going to the left, to the left, and the other half is going to the right. So you don't have to, so you can keep transitioning. Then I have a diffuser. So this is this system that I have here is exposed ceiling, so my diffusers are just right on my ductwork. I don't have to have an actual, diffuser that's in the ceiling, that's in a finished ceiling. So there's just right on the ductwork. This is actually something that you have this look in your studio. If you go look at the ductwork that's running through the studio on the ceiling, the diffusers are right on the ductwork itself. And then you can see here, once I have these diffusers, I can transition down to a smaller size duct until I get to the end, and then you put an end cap on it. And it's the same over here. You can transition down to an even smaller size duct. And then, as you transition, it changes it. It adds the transition. If this was a circular duct, again, it would automatically update the transition to match the circular, to go from a rectangle down to a circle. So that's pretty much it for ductwork. It's pretty much straightforward. It's kind of just like trial and error to try to get stuff to go in and work. And then, again, ductwork is just like piping, where you can draw it, and then you can change the height so that it adds a vertical. Let me do a little bit more than that. So it adds a vertical, and then you can kind of draw it however you want. If you can always transition to different types of duct. So if I went to a rectangular duct, it'll add a transition in for me. So it's kind of just playing around with it to get it to go. Again, in studio, I can sit with certain, with individuals that may have specific questions, or they can't get something to work. I can look at it and get it to work. And again, I had this view set up like this for a presentation purpose. But again, you want to be able to see inside the building and see the structure and see how everything, runs through it. And so you can see here, and this is the same part of the building, but I have my ductwork running through my joists, and this is all open and exposed to the ceiling. So that's why the diffusers are on there. But if you have a finished ceiling, then you need these types of diffusers that are on the ceiling, or they do have wall diffusers as well that you can put something inside of a wall. And then basically, just the last quick thing that I'll show is the piping. So like for something like this, I have this unit, and then this is the condensate drain. So this is basically just kind of like condensate drain that you would need. Something that you probably don't have to worry about this class, but just always remember that your mechanical equipment, you're gonna have a condensate drain for them as well that goes in. But you can see for this piece of equipment that I had, this is for electrical, so you can run electrical lines if you wanted to. But then you have the supply line and the return line for the refrigerant lines. And then you can hydronic supply and hydronic return. And those are the refrigerant lines that come from the units that are outside. And those work the same way as piping. So again, if I take those out, so let me take these out for a second. This is where I have that. So this pipe was, let me see, not delete this one too. So let's see. So this pipe was at, what's this pipe at? So this pipe is at 21 feet 8. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this, and I'm going to create the pipe. I'm just going to come out like a little tiny bit. Oh, first thing you want to do, as I mentioned in the piping video, is when you draw this, you want to make sure you're on standard, and then you can come out enough so that it doesn't give you an error. It'll still say that. And you see how it's given this, and it's highlighting that, but it still drew. I still drew the pipe. So then I said that main line that I'm connecting to is 21.8, so I can go bring this up to 21.8, and then draw it. For some reason, it's giving me saying I can't do it. I don't know why. Okay. So sometimes if you have something like that, it's just being a pain. So sometimes the easier way to do it is, let me see if I can do it now that this one's created. So sometimes you just gotta play with it to get it to work, because it can be a pain. Or it can just be stingy sometimes. So let me see if it'll draw. Yes. So now it's gonna actually let me draw it. So now I can draw it. Didn't put it straight. You always want to make sure that it's vertical. Like 90 degrees all the time. And sometimes and that's something when you're clicking, stuff. So I'm going to go up to 21.8 to match the main, this main supply line, the main line that's over here that I want to connect to. So a lot, like if you're going to try to draw something long, you may kind of click and this is off axis. So sometimes if you zoom in, you can see the dotted lines better to know that you're actually doing a 90 degree. So you can put that in, and then it'll put the fit in, and then you can just use the extend tool. You can either use the extend tool or just drag the pipe itself. That's where I was doing that.